How's it going, guys? It's Joshie. Before we get started with this week's podcast, I just wanted to let you guys know a couple things are on my mind. And I was not, trust me, I was not planning on starting this podcast like this week. But as I took a week off last week, I was not here for last week's episode. I want to thank referee Tony and Derek for stepping in and doing a fantastic job for me. Last week I took a week off just for mental reasons and just needed a week off. I was still very clogged with my transfer schedule, and I think it'd be unfair for you guys for me to come on here and not give it all of my heart, my energy, my mental, spiritual energy into a show. And I just didn't want to, just half-ass a performance for you guys here. And I just needed myself to take a week off and take a step back and reevaluate a lot of things in my life, but also take a step back and observe things as well. And my intention this week was just to come back, have some fun, share some laughs. We have AEW's Double or Nothing that we got to predict later on the show, and we'll still do all of that. But it's crazy when you take a step back and you start reevaluating things. Real life happens, and horrible things happen along the way. As many of you know, as I'm recording this on a Thursday, the talk of the world right now is what happened in Texas. Unfortunately, the other night on Tuesday, and another senseless, just absolutely mortifying mass shooting in Texas, and it's hard to put into words. Like this really, for me, as a podcaster, as a content creator, I wanted this show to be a positive mental escape for a lot of you guys, but also with the charm of this podcast is that we've always been open to having uncomfortable conversations about uncomfortable topics, and I that's not going to change here. So bear with me. This monologue is gonna be a little bit before we get to the actual portion of the show, but I have a lot of stuff I need to get off my chest, and I hope you just understand where I'm coming from here. Right now, I want, as you're listening to this, I want you to ask yourself, why are we here? What is our purpose for being here right now? What is your purpose for living right now? What's your purpose to wake up every day and start anew? Why do you go to work? Why do you go to school? Like, why are you here? And as you ask yourself that question, think about every parent that wakes up every day, try to set up their own schedule, also try to monitor and protect their children on their own schedules, as those parents take those kids to a public place where it's this is no disrespect to teachers and the school system, because I respect the school system and I think teachers are underpaid and undervalued and underappreciated. I respect the school system, but we all know in a sense of what at least elementary school through high school is. It's more of a platform, a place, a center to watch over kids for 9 hours while the parents work. Yeah, is it a place of learning? Sure, of course it is. What happened on Tuesday is not new news. Like, I can't sit here with a straight face and just get outwardly mad and just like vent and just go off. It's uncomfortably numb for me at this point. Like, it's not an excuse for it. I've been in this world for 28 years. I just turned 28 a few years ago. A few weeks ago. I just turned 28 a few weeks ago. And to say that this is a norm it's horrifying to say that. But I also deal in reality, and I know what's in front of me. And there's a quote from Notorious B.I.G. that I look to whenever I'm feeling down about something or I need to reevaluate how I view certain situation or just general communication or my thoughts and my outlooks of certain things in life. And I think this message is true. And I want everybody to listen to this. You cannot change the world unless you change yourself. You can't change your predicament of how you are and what you want to go about life unless you change yourself. Right now, these last 48 hours or so, we've had people either express, and rightly so, express their anger about another senseless mass shooting. Also, we got to acknowledge what happened in Buffalo at the flea market. I think there's reported over 200 plus mass shootings in the United States this year alone. I will never try to rationalize with a person that thinks it's okay to buy AK-15 and AK-47s and whatever gun you want to use to go up to a school or church or movie theater in Colorado and think it's okay to take multiple lives because you can't handle your own situations. I'm not going to justify or even try to rationalize with that type of thinking. Nor am I going to sit here and try to validate the reasons of, oh, we got to bear our arms. Our arms don't mean shit now. And I'm sorry if that offends you if you're listening to this right now. A flag, the Second Amendment, a lot of the traditions and the ethics of what this country was founded on really don't mean shit right now. Because we spit in the face of it every day. We still have people justifying themselves to go after people that look different for them. We still have people in this world who think it's okay to thumb down their nose at somebody who may like the same sex as they are. The whole thing about the Second Amendment rights and right to bear arms and the NRA is so mind-numbing to what the real issue is here. Nobody's telling you that you cannot protect yourself. But what's more important to you? Your Second Amendment or protecting your children? And you can say this is overreacting or overreaching, but this is the truth. As a kid who went to public schools in Chicago for over 12 plus years, plus a high school, a kid from Chicago, from the west side of Chicago, I feared mostly every day of my life during my school experience because of the environment that I came from and never knowing if I was going to go outside for recess and then a gang fight breaks out and then somebody starts shooting and then, lo and behold, a friend of mine gets killed. I've seen shootings in my life. I've seen somebody get shot in a fight at their school when I was going to Chopin Elementary School. It was in 4th grade. Right as I was about to leave, I was doing some extra stuff with the music teacher. I was playing music, obviously. Music was a big part of my life growing up as a kid. And when I was going to elementary school, every day after we were done with our regular day of classes, I would spend 30 minutes with Mr. Rivera and play guitar with him. And this was, I remember it like it was yesterday. I get out, it's like 4:30. Now, mind you, my house that I grew up in was 2 blocks away from my elementary school. This is the first time I'm telling this story. I never even told my parents this. But I got out. It seemed like normal. The recess area or the walking area where we had to walk into the school was mostly crowded, just like casual conversations. Some people be playing soccer, some people be playing catch with the baseball, some people be interacting with each other. Just normal stuff. I walk out. I start walking towards down Campbell on the left-hand side of the school. Lo and behold, I start hearing some screaming. I look over to my right. There's at least 20 people charging towards each other and getting into a fight. I start running because I don't want a part of that. Now think about this. I'm in 4th grade. I start running. I get passed around the corner of Campbell and Chicago Avenue. And what do I hear? I hear 3 gunshots. 3 gunshots. Just for gang violence. I'm not even speaking about some lunatic who's in his feelings and wants to go walk into a random school and start shooting people for no reason. Or a daycare center, or a church, or a movie theater. Just random gang violence. I'm a kid from the west side of Chicago. Chicago's been publicized by the media as one of the worst cities to live in when it comes to the safety of their children. And I experienced this. And I had paranoia through my childhood experience. I'm fortunate that, we didn't have somebody go into the school and start shooting. But I've seen people, and that day, somebody, and thank God this brawl was like going downwards to the other side of the school where it wasn't as close to the people that are there. And this massive brawl breaks out with 2 gangs. 2 gangs just start fighting. A lot of screaming, a lot of hollering, this and that. I'm backpedaling. I'm going in a different direction, trying to mind my own business. Boom, boom, boom. Luckily, nobody died that day. But it doesn't change the fact that I'm 2 blocks away from possibly getting shot with some kid that's probably 17 years old in a gang trying to fit in with a collection of jagoffs who are not real men. Because if you're in a gang, you're not a real man. No real man needs a gun to settle their conflict with somebody. I don't care what you think. If you're in a gang and you need to kill somebody out of settling a disagreement or communication, you are a piece of shit. Okay? And this goes into the thing about guns. These young kids, a lot of the gang members in Chicago get their guns from Indiana. And this city does nothing to do to change that situation. But we gotta stand up our guard. We got to just, stand up for the NRA. We got a right to bear arms. Nobody's ever telling you to not protect yourself or your family. I'm never going to tell you not to do that. What I am going to say is that a lot of people throughout the years, no matter how many times we've had these mass shootings, anywhere, schools, churches, the incident that happened in Vegas a few years ago. A guy brought in, 40 plus guns to a Vegas hotel and started shooting people that went to a country concert? You gotta think about it, for the people that own these gun places, don't you start questioning yourself if somebody is coming to your place and buying multiple guns and excessive amount of rounds of bullets? Don't you start asking yourself that question? Do you have any self-awareness? So you think that it's okay because I got my Second Amendment rights, that it's okay that anybody is entitled to having a gun? I don't think so. I have cops on my side of the family, and I love my uncles, and I worry about them all the time. My cousin Gina is a police officer. I worry about her safety all the time. I lived here my entire life. I'm not ashamed of where I come from. This city has really opened my eyes to what life is at a very young age, and the predicaments that I grew up in really opened my eyes to a lot of different things. And I'm very grateful for the support system that I had in my life with my family and what they taught me and a lot of things. And seeing what happened the other day it's just sickening to sit through and look at that. And I'm not going to sit here and be like, okay, it's another mass shooting, nothing we can do about it. There is something you can do about it. It happens every year. It happens every other 4 years, and we do nothing to change it. Of course, it's shallow and easy to say, well, my thoughts and prayers go out to family. Like, I didn't want to make this monologue today. I didn't want to do this. Part of me wanted, I didn't even know if it was right for me to come back and do the show this week. I'm supposed to come in here and talk about a malcontent in Sasha Banks who's in her feelings and that she doesn't, she wants to walk out because she's going to get a title shot against Ronda Rousey while little kids don't even get a chance to fucking grow up because a lunatic wants to go to school and shoot them up. I'm supposed to sit here and talk about Tony Khan can't keeping WWE out of his mouth? This is a double-edged sword here. But I'm speaking from the heart from here. And I'm not here for anybody to agree or disagree. I really don't give a shit because I speak for myself. What happened on Tuesday should never happen to anybody or anybody's families. I also know the reality of life. Anywhere you go, no matter where you go, no matter what state you're in, you could get shot at a concert, you could get shot getting groceries, you could get shot getting gas, you could get shot. Trust me, I know that. I know that well and well. It does not change the fact that the Second Amendment in the United States does not mean shit. It doesn't have any merit to it anymore. The fact it's 2022 and we still need to explain to people who are so robotic in their way of looking at life that it's not okay to thumb your nose at somebody who looks different than you or may be homosexual or whatever. And then again, with the stuff with the guns and the mass shootings and stuff like that, why is it so hard for some of you to get your head out of your ass and stop acting like a robot and see what the real issues are in the world? They have no self-awareness because you're so tied down to what you grew up in, the environments you come from, and that there's no other way of looking at life. It's only about what you grow up or what your parents tell you. A lot of people grow up being the products of the environments and the neighborhoods that they come from and the teaching at home. I believe, and I've said this before on this podcast, a lot of issues, a lot of major issues, start at home. So again, as I go back to the Biggie quote, we cannot change the world unless we change ourselves. So as you, the NRA Mark, that's listening to this, tell me that I don't know what the hell I'm talking about and that I need to keep my mouth shut because I got my Second Amendment rights. Guess what, pal? You can kiss my ass. My thoughts prayers do go out to those fans because it's horrible. I saw the young father talking to Anderson Cooper. They had that clip put out on Twitter from CNN. It was horrible. Horrible. The guy the daughter that got shot at the school and died recently celebrated her 10th birthday 3 weeks ago. Just a horrible clip. If you guys haven't seen it on Twitter, I mean, it'll make you cry. It's really, really, really sad. So I took a week off of the podcast, just wanted to take a step back, reevaluate a lot of things on my own accord of what's going on in my life, and I felt like I'm in a good place spiritually, health-wise, and, just enjoying my life here in the apartment and just doing my thing, I was recently getting over a congestion cold. I was just in good spirits, and then boom, a mass shooting, and people, those jack-off politicians in Texas yelling at the other congressman who actually gives a fuck about this situation and wants to speak up for people. That guy, get out of here, you are a troublemaker, you are a piece of shit, you need to get out of here. Listen to how that guy speaks to that guy, and you see what's wrong with this country. You don't know what you're talking about, son. You don't know what the hell's wrong with this country. I do, so get out. It's horrible, man. This podcast is supposed to be about having fun and having it be a mental escape, but this podcast is also about giving out life lessons and speaking from the heart. And it's horrible, man. I'm almost at a loss of words. No kid should feel to put themselves in a position where they're having paranoia if they don't know if they're going to get home by the time the school day is over. No parent should have to start their day and go into work to a job they don't want to go to, and all while in the back of their head not knowing whether they're going to see their kid by the time they get home, or not knowing if they're going to see their kid by the time they get a chance to pick them up from school. You want to come to me and talk about, NRA this and Second Amendment that? Guess what? I rather care about the safety of my children than your Second Amendment rights. I understand anybody can get shot anywhere. I know the realities of this life. Trust me. But it doesn't change the fact that a lot of things that still happen in this country that should have fucking stopped 70 years ago or 100 years ago or how long this has been going on. The fact that stuff that's still been going on for centuries, racism, looking down at people because they're gay or whatever, shootings, gangs. All this stuff is still happening. It's 2022, and it's still the same shit. I still see racism posts every day. So you tell me, ask yourself this question: why are we here? What's the point of why are we here? For money? Is that the only thing that matters in life? Our Second Amendment rights and making that good old American dollar. Is that the point of God putting us on this earth? To kill each other? To look down on each other? Please understand that you're given one life. And I tell everybody every day, every week at least, on this podcast, to be the authentic pride that is yourself. And always remember to dictate the pace of your life, nobody else. But even then, at sometimes, people dictate your trajectory of your life because they have no fucking self-awareness, they have no balls, and they don't give a shit about you. And that's the brutal reality of life, too. Trust me, I get both sides. I really do. It doesn't change the fact that I'm going to speak for myself And that's all I have to say about this topic. So, we're going to switch the tone a little bit here in the podcast, and we're going to have a little bit of fun here. So, my thoughts and prayers go out to every family member that lost a child during this mass shooting, especially the teachers that passed away as well. I think there was like 21 reported people that passed away. My thoughts and prayers go out to their families, and this shit has to stop. I can say that it can be wasted breath, but something has to change, and we can't change the world unless we change ourselves. So let's get into episode 311 of Hoots Podcast.
I'm afraid I've got some bad news. I knew it. I love when he does that.
Well, once you hit rock bottom, the only way to go is up. So good luck, okay? Good luck.
You say rock bottom, but like, it just seems like things keep getting worse. What is rock bottom? Who decides what's the bottom of all this? I mean, seriously, you go, okay, today is Friday, and I woke up in Cleveland, and I'm going, how much worse can it get?
Buffalo, all your babbling is interfering with my machine. So for the next few minutes, please just do me a favor and kindly shoot.
What's going on, boys and girls? Welcome back to the Hoots Podcast, episode 311. Hope you guys are enjoying your week so far. It's Thursday, May 26, 2022, as I'm chilling here in my studio, the Good Brothers studio, that is, in lovely Chicago, Illinois. First and foremost, I want to give a big shout out to my guys, Brother Carter and referee Tony S., for stepping in for me last week. They did a phenomenal job hosting the show, and I hope you guys got a chance to check that episode out. It comes to you free of charge on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Josh Lopez Media. Make sure to type in the Hoots Podcast in your search engine, and it'll be pretty easy for you to find out from there. Also, you can subscribe to our podcast as well. It's available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, anywhere you get your podcasts from. Especially for those who use Apple Podcasts, please do me this favor. Leave us a 4 or 5 star rating and review. Myself and Brother Carter really do want to gauge your feedback of what you guys like or dislike about the podcast, and just very appreciative for the support that we get numbers-wise for the podcast, but also the feedback that we get as well. So it's really cool. I really do appreciate what you guys do for this podcast, and it's motivating, especially during weeks like this. And we're here to provide an escape for you guys, but also an informative wrestling platform that you may not get anywhere else. Myself, I'm very fortunate in the position that I break down these pro wrestling shows and transcribe them every single week on ProWrestlingTranscripts.com. I average around 18 to 19 shows on non-pay-per-view weeks, and I take a lot of pride in, applying context and substance to my wrestling points. And we don't really do hot takes here on this podcast. We have a lot of fun. Yeah, there's a lot of conjecture and stuff like that, and what the hell is wrong with AEW. But that is a comedy bit podcast about people who think AEW does absolutely nothing wrong. So that's the gist of the segment. And then when it comes to the WWE stuff, it's still fair game there. There's stuff that we don't like, we'll mention it and stuff like that. But I want you guys to feel that and listen to this and watch this. I want you guys to know, I want you to feel like I'm sitting next to you, and we're just having conversations about pro wrestling. And that's what we do here at Hoots Podcast. Along the way, we give life lessons, and we speak from the heart. So I just want to thank all of you for supporting the Hoots Podcast, and it means the world to us. So let's have some fun. You guys believe it? Doesn't it feel like last week? Doesn't it feel like yesterday we did episode 300? Now we're already at 311. It's crazy. So excuse me. I'm going to drink some water, okay? Right now we're going to get into the Good Brothers Q&A session, which you do on the podcast each and every single week. You guys can send me questions to @Josh Lopez Media. By the way, if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's @Josh Lopez Media. And check out Josh Lopez music as well if you want to see me do some guitar covers. So we're going to start off this bad boy off in good old fashioned by just checking out the questions that we got this week for the podcast as we usually do. We start off with the good brother Chris Zaletta at XCZaletta24X on Twitter. So here we go. How is FTR not booked for Double or Nothing? SMH. Chris, I gotta say this, it's Twitter can be a cesspool when it comes to like surfing through takes and just thoughts on different products and stuff like that. But I always get a kick from you, especially, and this is not a knock towards you, Chris, but I do get a kick out of when you mention something and then you add the SMH or the shaking my fucking head in alliteration as well. That always pops in. I don't know why, but it's the timing of it, and maybe you do feel that way when you type that out. Again, this is not a knock towards you, but when I see that, it pops me. Your guess is as good as mine. I don't know why FTR is not booked on this pay-per-view. Again, I don't know why the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles have taken more importance than the AEW World Tag Team titles either, There's a lot of things that go on with AEW that don't make sense to me, again, and we'll get to that later on. It's a shame, this is AEW's biggest pay-per-view of the year, right? Like, why is your best tag team not on the card? You tell me. Who will be New Day's partner on SmackDown? Drew McIntyre. There you go. This is not sources or anything like that. I know Drew's been out in the UK promoting the Clash of the Castle show. It's only right for him to go after the Sheamus, Rich Holland, and Butch of the world. So Drew McIntyre will be New Day's tag partner. And I think that trios match is going to be pretty good tomorrow on SmackDown. All right, let's go to the next question. Who would you like to see challenge Scorpio Sky for the TNT title? Anybody but Sammy Guevara? Does that count? That's a good question. Do you want to implement the guys for the House of Black to do that? I don't know. Part of me feels like there's too many factions and that sometimes they get like lumped into the Rampage shows. I'm not gonna say buried because having the opportunity to be on Rampage is not a bad thing. But when you have guys like Pac and Phoenix and Pentagon, do they really need to be a faction? Like, do we really need trios tag team titles? How do you expect me to take their trios division seriously when they don't even take their tag division seriously when it comes to the actual match? Yeah, you got a lot of great athletes who do a lot of spot fests and a lot of tumbling routines, but does that really constitute it being a good tag division? Like, if I was booking the show, like, I would have Pentagon or Phoenix going after Scorpio Sky for the TNT title. That's just my opinion. Or have Jungle Boy finally split off from the Jungle Express and have him go after the TNT title. There's a lot of different options to go there. But please, whatever you do, keep Sammy Douchebag Guevara away from that title. Alright, next question. Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins in Hell in a Cell. Is it a must-win for Seth Rollins story-wise? It's only a must-win if Seth Rollins is going to continue on with the program. There's been three prolonged match stories, that, especially at WWE, it's kind of their norm to do it this way. I don't think it really is a must-win for Seth Rollins because unless you're going to continue on the story, he doesn't really need to continue on with Cody Rhodes. Plus, you got to remember, Money in the Bank is the next pay-per-view. So, even if Seth Rollins wins or Cody wins, they're still going to fight each other probably in the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Seth is going to try to do everything he can to make sure that Cody Rhodes did not become the WWE champion, he'll fail upon that quest and then be forced to go to SmackDown. That's the story that's being told here. Cody steals Seth's spotlight at WrestleMania. Cody wants to get the WWE title. Seth Rollins, since the Royal Rumble, has been saying that he wants to become the champion again. He has unfinished business with the Tribal Chief. Who knows? You never know. Maybe Seth Rollins takes the Universal title off of Roman Reigns, and Cody Rhodes takes the WWE title off of Roman Reigns. You don't know. That's the thing. You gotta let it play out. What team are Super Bowl or bust this season? That's a good question. That's a real thinker there. I'll say probably the Chargers, Chris. Let's start off for the AFC from there. Buffalo is definitely a Super Bowl or bust team for sure. For the NFC, the Rams are the defending champions, so I can't really say them like they are the champions. Usually you don't get repeats in the NFL. I can keep saying the Packers, but every year it's the same song and dance. Oh, there's drama with Aaron Rodgers. Will he come back? Oh, he comes back. Oh, here's Dan Graziano on Get Up. Oh, Aaron Rodgers. Oh, he's there. They're going to be instant NFC title game at least contenders. It's the same song and dance routine every season, and it's so annoying. I can't stand Dan Graziano. That show Get Up from ESPN, by the way, guys, absolutely sucks. It is brutal. Brutal Bob Evans, if you will. Great question, Chris. But yeah, I'd probably say most likely the Chargers, the Bills, and especially the Green Bay Packers starts Super Bowl or bust. All right, next question. Do you think Colin Kaepernick could play in today's NFL? Do you see him getting another workout visit after yesterday's with the Raiders? Do I think he could play in the NFL? Like, do I think he could be a franchise quarterback and be a top-tier performer? No. I already had those thoughts before he got, blacklisted and, just being exiled from the league, which I did not agree with at the time. I think he was standing up for proper reasons, and I respect Colin Kaepernick and everything he's done with his movement and stuff like that. I've always respected him. I can separate my feelings from a person and how they play on the field. I didn't think he was really that guy as a quarterback. Yes, he had a tremendous first showing with the 49ers. So I'll never take that away from him. But he did not win that Super Bowl that year, and he did not get better after the fact. Does he deserve a spot in the league? Absolutely. Does he deserve another workout visit? Absolutely. Do I think he could play in today's NFL? No. I have to see still otherwise. Because the way he was playing before he left the league wasn't really much to write home about. Just being honest. Would you like to see Riddle turn on Orton? I guess so. The dynamic of having Riddle turn on Orton could be interesting. But also, you got to remember this, guys. Like, Riddle also has a feel like Rob Van Dam, too. And I know that RVD was kind of more cocky way of a heel in ECW. But both of those guys and their personalities are so similar that I can't really say, like, oh, this is somebody that I want to boo, Yeah, it could be a different turn because Randy's getting cheered and you wouldn't expect it that Riddle turns on Orton and maybe you want a more edgier and serious version of Riddle. But you're still, every time Riddle's going to cut a promo, it's still going to sound like him as a babyface. So, do you want to do that? I'm more of a traditionalist when it comes to professional wrestling. I think the Orton turn is a better option, not only for the fact for their program and their history together, but Orton as a heel will make Riddle an even bigger babyface than having Riddle turn on Orton right now. So, no, I would not want to see that. Awesome questions this week, my man. I appreciate you, Chris. You did a great job as always. Let's see what we got next here on the podcast. Oh, we got a couple questions here. let's start off with a good brother, Mike at Main Event Swerve. Shout out to him in Houston. Here we go. I hate to be focused on this, but curious. What year did you think... Hold up, really quick. I hate to be focused on this, but curious. What year did you first think of how to deal with the school shooter? And what was your idea of staying safe in that situation? Oh, well, we had a lot of, like, different... And I'm sure kids, like, my age at that time period during the late 90s and early 2000s, they were going to, like, public schools and stuff. You have your days where they bring you out to the hallway and have these instructions for fire alarm drills. That's what they would call them. And we do this, like, maybe twice or three times a year, especially in high school. I went to a charter school. By the way, I'm not saying that as a humble brag. Yeah, trust me. Trust me. I don't think that I'm above anybody because I went to a charter high school. Trust me. I just want to throw that out there. I will say that school really helped me out when it comes to being disciplined and focusing on my craft and stuff like that. So I am very grateful for my runner experience. But going back to this, when it comes to like handling the paranoia with shootings and stuff like that, we had our drills and stuff like that that you usually get from every school. But it did change the fact of, you know, that paranoia was not going to go away. You know, it's like you could do all the drills, you could do everything possible, but, you know, for me, that's just something that you can't prevent, you know, and it's something I never wish on anybody for something like that to happen. It should never happen. I'm fortunate enough that we didn't have an actual in-school shooting. We never had that. I told the story in the monologue earlier about the shooting that happened after school. But, again, it was just very unfortunate to see what happened on Tuesday. It really broke my heart to see that, for sure. Also, all respect to Chicago, and I hear conflicting ideas. But what would you say is safe to live in Chicago? I feel like the city is a scapegoat for gun violence arguments more often than not. What areas are safest / most chill if somebody travels there for vacation? Yes. This topic and this question could be a podcast episode in itself, and I talked about a lot about this in the past, in our past episodes when I was doing the show with Adam Daly. There's one thing to take reports off of media and stuff, and I'm sure there's been a lot of scuttlebutt on these political talk shows about which city is worse, about handling gun violence and stuff like that, and I'm sure my city's been run through the mud for the last 20 or 30 years. There's one thing to talk about it on media, because that's the way to keep that narrative and buzz going, and then there's another thing, living in the city. And I talked about it earlier. Even now, like, I'm living on my own. I don't know if I'm going to walk in my apartment one day and, you know, go shopping and some jagoff wants to come by and shoot me or try to rob me. I don't know about that, if that's going to happen. But it's in the back of my head. I have to think about it. Of course. Can I say it's 100% safe to live here? No. It's not. But I'm not going to tell somebody to not come to the city. There are risks that come to the city. And I hate saying that as somebody that's lived here my entire life, but it's just a fact. If I was coming to Chicago for a week and just wanted to go there for vacation, I'd probably stay in Rosemont. You know, around that area by the airport, by O'Hare. Like, I would stay over there than I would in the downtown area or anywhere else around the city. You don't know what's going to happen. And there's another unfortunate thing that not a lot of people are talking about. And I it's a shame to say that, but it's look what's going on right now. To think about what we've gone through as a country, especially over the last couple of years with COVID and everybody being locked in their house, I don't want to say that I was expecting something like this to happen, but here we are. Here we are in 2022, 200 plus mass shootings in the United States, and it's just absolutely sickening to my stomach that still people are out there touting their, oh, we got our Second Amendment rights. Your Second Amendment don't mean crap, pal. It really doesn't. So, to your point about the city being a scapegoat for gun violence, yeah, it's true. But also the city doesn't do anything to change the predicament of what the city is. This city's dealt with gang members and importing of guns from Indiana and other parts of the Midwest. It's just a fucked up part of life, and it's something that I'm just uncomfortably numb to now. And it's terrible. It really is. I can't really say with a straight face that living here is safe. It's still one of the main reasons why I've been ready to move and start the next chapter of my life. I have a lot of things that I want to do. I have a lot of goals that I want to accomplish before my time is up here. And I have that paranoia if I don't know if the next day I go out, boom, and I'm done. But that's the thing with life, tomorrow's not guaranteed. It's just not. So you got to make the best of what's in front of you and keep your mind positive on what's really going on right now and what's in front of you and control what you can control. So I appreciate that question. All right, last question for the week comes from the good brother Wade. What's going on, my man? Wade Wilson, what's going on, my man? By the way, Wade also lives in Orlando, which I want to move to, so hopefully we can hang out soon. All right, Wade, you get the last question of the week, so here we go. Out of all the champions within the companies, who is the most relevant and why? That's a great question. Relevant is a pretty simple answer, my man, and I think you know this is very well. It is our tribal chief. As I say that, you better be throwing them ones up right now. Throw the ones up. He is not only the most relevant champion in the industry right now, he's the most relevant wrestler in the industry. The work speaks for itself. He is the needle mover. He is the head of the table. It's Roman Reigns. It's just like that, man. He is that man. And I'm not going to try to come here and do a Paul Heyman impression or anything like that, but it's the truth. We can have a different debate about who's the better champion as far as in-ring quality and stuff like that and other subtopics when it comes around to this question, Wade. And there's other champions that I would put into that same category as if you ask me who are the top champions in the industry, I would just say only Roman Reigns. I would add Okada from New Japan. I think Okada, for me this year, has been the best wrestler of the year from my transcript point of view in the matches that I covered this year. But also, you can make arguments for Josh Alexander, who's done amazing stuff in Impact this year. But when it comes to topic and word of mouth and who's the most relevant champion, it's the tribal chief. But still, even then, even him being the tribal chief and the head of the table, he lives rent free in wrestling fans who only look at the industry off of what they heard on the CM Punk Art of Wrestling podcast in 2014. And that's the truth. On that note, that's the wrap up for this week's edition of the Good Bros Q&A session. As always, if you want to participate in this Q&A session, all you have to do is send me a question prior to the recording of episodes at Josh Lopez Media or the Hoots Podcast at gmail.com. So, when we come back, we'll get into what happened this week in WWE. I'm sure a lot of you have been waiting to hear what I've had to say about the Sasha Banks Naomi stuff, and you'll hear that next, right here on Hoots Podcast. All right. Welcome back to the Hoots Podcast. Time to talk about what happened this week in WWE. as we are about a week and a half away from Hell in a Cell at the Rosemont Horizon in lovely Rosemont, Illinois. The Rosemont Horizon, pal. Or you can call it the All-State Arena, it's alright. But I call it the Rosemont Horizon. Anyways, I'm gonna say my thoughts on Sasha Banks and Naomi towards the end of this segment, because I've had a week to take a step back and simmer on my thoughts on it, my initial thoughts on it. And we'll get to that towards the end of this segment, okay? But I want to start off with some fun stuff and play some audio for you guys for context reasons. And, you know, usually this part when we go over this week in WWE, there's like so much hours of content. Like, I can't even squeeze into stuff at NXT 2.0. I know they got NXT In Your House coming up a week from Saturday, right, on June 4th. So right now, there's only so much that I could do in some ways. And I just want to let you guys know that when it comes to this segment, we like to give our thoughts about stuff that happened collectively throughout the week of WWE instead of breaking down every segment. So I'm not going to break down every segment of Raw and every segment of SmackDown. I'm going to give you my takeaways, stuff that stood out to me, stuff that didn't, and go over a little bit of the card, especially this week for the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. But first, let's take a trip back to SmackDown this past Friday night from Grand Rapids, Michigan, as the show started off with the Bloodline ahead of the crazy unification match for this past week's edition of SmackDown. Let's hear what Paul Heyman has to say.
Let's give credit where credit's due. This is the best tag team in SmackDown against the best tag team on Raw, perhaps the best tag team in the history of Monday Night Raw. But the Usos have to earn their spot. They have to be relevant. They can't be yesterday's news. And it's not enough just to be the cousins of the tribal chief. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, the Usos will come home, the undisputed tag team champions, or they won't come home to the island of relevancy at all. Tonight, the Usos will beat RK Bro. Tonight, the Usos will become the greatest tag team of all time. Tonight, the Usos will be the undisputed tag team champions of the world. And that's not just a prediction. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a spoiler. Usos! Twins. You know what I want. And I expect you to deliver. The only reason I have these expectations is because I love you.
By the way, happy belated birthday to our tribal chief. Let's give a birthday shout out. Start off there. Just some top tier shit there. Like, Heyman was starting off the show like boasting about Roman Reigns. I got a little bit of the promo here that I read out. He was like, let me pull this up really quick. Just 1 second here. Oh, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the biggest night in the history of tag team wrestling. Roman Reigns is the GOAT. Now check out this part here. Undisputed, the greatest of all time. You can take your Bruno Sammartinos. You can take your Hulk Hogan's. You can take your Stone Cold Steve Austin's. You can take your Dwayne The Rock Johnsons. You can take your Brock Lesnar's. You can take your John Cena's. You can stack them all up, and that's what would happen if they all stepped into the ring at the same time with the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. They would be stacked up and smashed and pinned by the undisputed GOAT, the greatest of all time, Roman Reigns. There'll never be another Paul Heyman. I'll just say that. That guy is just phenomenal. I thought SmackDown this past Friday was a very, very good episode from top to bottom. I think for me, SmackDown beat Raw as far as my point of view from an entertainment point of view. I thought the Sami Zayn match with Nakamura was fantastic. That was cool. Sami Zayn, you know, I kind of rip on him sometimes, you know, like I made it known that I was not a fan of his original theme song. And he may be a stooge and a clown for the Bloodline, but I enjoy his work. I get a kick out of him. He's pretty funny, man. And I never took away what he could do in the ring. I've always been entertained by his matches. It was cool to see Nakamura win. And, you know, Nakamura did give a little look at Roman when he was making his entrance. So maybe there's a match between those two down the road. We'll have to see. But going back to Sami Zayn, yeah, he may be a stooge and a clown, but I did enjoy that. Corbin smashing the Andre the Giant promo. I thought that was decent. By the way, here's another thing. Who the hell made wrestling Twitter the end-all, be-all authority of what names are over? When did wrestling Twitter become Quincy Jones and Jerry Jam and Terry Lewis? Like, I swear to God, sometimes wrestling Twitter thinks they are above professional wrestling. At one moment they think they're prosecutors for creative. The second, they play social justice warriors. And now they're literally trying to be the authority over the names of wrestlers and the songs that they use. Like the fact that Alexa Bliss had to make a statement that was her idea and the concept of her new theme song is so ridiculous that she didn't have to do that because she's not entitled and she's not required to speak to insecure wrestling marks who think they're freaking prosecutors. Like I see people on wrestling Twitter and the quote-unquote reporters go on soapboxes about angles and formats of shows and stuff like that. Like, their case and the way they go about it, I take them as seriously as I take Amber Heard's lawyer, Ben Rottenborn. I don't! So, Eli Drake, LA Knight, or Max Dupree doesn't change the fact that this dude is still a talented performer. You could call him whatever the hell you want. He's still going to deliver on the microphone. I really been liking what they've been doing with Raquel Rodriguez. She's building momentum. I talked a little bit earlier about the New Day stuff with what do they call them? The Brawling Brutes. I think that's what they're calling them. Yeah. Sheamus's faction. Then we had RK Bro and the Usos in the main event. Fantastic match. The whole layout with it, especially the ending, I thought was perfect. It was good to, when you're starting off the show with the Usos, obviously the Bloodline, and they're setting that tone like, hey, if you don't win, you don't get to come home. There was a lot of scuttlebutt about whether this would be just a non-finish or be it would be a disqualification just so we could have the rematch in Hell in the Cell. And that was not the case. Roman Reigns, as much as they call Jay White the catalyst of professional wrestling, Roman Reigns is the catalyst of sports entertainment. He is Thanos of professional wrestling. He sets the terms. This right there with a snap, he can change the direction of anything that he wants. And that's just what happened. Roman Reigns cost Riddle the match. Jay won it with the Uso splash. After that, just all pure anarchy just starts, right? They have... they put poor Riddle through the table with the splash. Roman's going ultra rogue. He's got Riddle, he's choking out Randy Orton at the end of the show. Kids are crying. Distraught looks on males. It was just awesome visually and everything that went on towards the end of SmackDown. The Usos are your undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions. I loved SmackDown this past Friday. I thought it was a great episode. Just all the visuals. Right now, the Bloodline is the top group in sports entertainment, and it's not close. Let's get to Monday Night Raw this past Monday from Evansville, Indiana. Speaking about making the grown men cry and the kids, let's hear a little bit from the Usos.
They might be booing, yeah. Little kids might be crying, oh yeah. We got grown men out there crying, yeah. But they still might be hating on the Usos, hating on us. Why? Because we went out there and did what we said we was gonna do. Like body Randy Orton, and he ain't coming back. Might be the end of RK Bro, or because we became the best damn tag team in the world. Cause you're the twos, and we the ones.
You damn right they're the ones. Fun starts the show where we had Matt Riddle and the Street Profits taking on the Stooge of the Khan, Sami Zayn and the Usos. This is a trios match. The Usos left Sami Zayn hanging, which left Riddle to beat Sami Zayn towards the end of the match. I thought this was a good match to start off the show. You kind of get the hints a little bit that Riddle will probably fight Roman Reigns at Money in the Bank, possibly. There could be a scenario where RK Bros in the title pit in the Money in the Bank ladder match, but I don't see that. It's so interesting because Riddle and Orton really, they became the tag team champions at SummerSlam last year in the same place where Money in the Bank is going to be at this year at Allegiant Stadium, right, in Vegas. What if Orton makes his turn at Money in the Bank? Man, that'd be interesting. But I do see a scenario that Riddle will have a title shot against Roman Reigns. I can see that happening. It won't end well for him, but you get my point. I've been one of the few people out here in the wrestling media that's been total advocates for the Judgment Day. Their work speaks for themselves. I'm not going to say much further. Let the Hall of Famer speak for himself.
Alexa Bliss. Drew McIntyre. Boy, you didn't see that one coming, did you? Liv Morgan. Finn Balor. But what about you, AJ Styles? Surely by now you have to understand that standing side by side, shoulder to shoulder with us is far better for your health than standing eye to eye. Make the right choice, AJ. Join us. And who knows, by the end of all of this, maybe your kiddos at home all tucked in nicely. I don't know, maybe they could start calling me Uncle Edge. AJ, the choice is yours. Choose wisely.
Put some respect on Judgment Day's group. Now, I did not think this episode of Raw was bad or horrible or anything like that. I just thought SmackDown was a better show, but there was some decent matches on the show, like this one here, AJ Styles and Liv Morgan and Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley. I enjoyed that match. I thought the right team won. And Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley, I thought that was fine. I really got a pop out of Miz's backstage interview with Kevin Patrick. I wish they had an audio clip of that. I would play that for you guys, but I thought it was pretty good. Again, good to see Alexa Bliss on my TV. Wasn't really too crazy about the stuff with Veer Meek Mahan and the Mysterios. That's a program that's just not going to go anywhere. I don't know why people are so quick to like just jump on and hate on the Indian wrestlers. I think that's kind of a weird flex that people do on Twitter. Like going back to the stuff with Jinder Mahal, it's like people like just going out of their way to shit on a guy, and I just don't think that's cool. Like they're doing the old school thing where they're having squash matches and stuff like that, but don't sit there and act like this guy can't work. Yeah, everybody's a work in progress in promos. Hell, your favorite company, AEW, has people that still need to work on their promos, especially after last night. But I even though I'm not interested in this program with Veer and Mysterios, I'm going to sit here and be like, oh, Veer's a wasteless project. There should be no reason to push them. I just think that's weird that Wrestling Twitter, like they're so quick to tell you what the trajectory of these Indian wrestlers are. I just don't think that's cool. Cody Rhodes and The Miz, solid match. I had a feeling that it was going to be a non-decisive finish because I didn't think you were going to do just two regular decisive pinfalls on The Miz with Cody Rhodes just coming back. So, again, Seth Rollins cheating, causes disqualification, does a curse stop, steals a weight belt from the fans. I thought that was pretty funny. And just whips Cody with the weight belt, right? So their match is going to be fantastic. I'm really looking forward to their final promo off on Monday. That's going to be a nice tie-in for their match because that's probably the main event of that pay-per-view. So I am looking forward to Cody and Seth Rollins a lot. And that last promo off is going to be some must-see TV, so I'll say that. Kevin Owens is now going to be fighting Ezekiel at the pay-per-view. All fine with that. No problem there. Good to see Military's finest waterfall. Lacey Evans back in action on Monday, so no problem there. And then we had Becky Lynch and Asuka. Pretty good match. More time than they had last week, obviously. A little better time show. But Becky Lynch won. I don't know if you guys have been noticing this or not, but ever since Becky did the whole heel turn, she's really doing a lot of the I found the money. No, really quick. No. Excuse me. Don't you notice that Becky Lynch has really been acting like Sami Zayn in a lot of ways where like she does like a lot of the like roll up victories and the DQs and the count outs and constantly running out to the ring, or whenever somebody's doing commentary, she throws somebody into that person that's sitting on the chair. Like for example, like on Monday, Becky's just randomly sitting on Bianca's lap, and then Asuka accidentally hits her with the roundhouse kick, right? It's just an observation. I don't know if that's just a trope that WWE wants to do, where they have their heels just like, I don't care about winning matches. I know how traditional heels work, obviously, but it's like with her specifically, it's always about roll-ups and DQs and countouts. I find that interesting. Like, have any of you guys noticed that? It's kind of like the same thing with Sami Zayn. He's not worried about winning a match with a move that stands out. It's about DQs and roll-ups and whatever jigsaw puzzle or labyrinth that we can find a way to end a match. It's kind of interesting. So, really quick, that's my thoughts for Raw and SmackDown this week. I give the nod to SmackDown as the best show of the week, but Raw has some good stuff as well. Alright. Usually I do the NXT UK preview at the end, but we're going to do it now. Today's NXT UK, we have the A-Kid against Charlie Dempsey in a British Rounds match. That match is going to be awesome. For guys that don't know, Charlie Dempsey is the son of William Regal. And he's been fantastic on NXT UK with D Familia. It's been a great group to check out. It's been a lot of fun to watch. Also, we got the brother of Gable's season, David Kemp. He's taking on Shawn Samuels on the program today. Also, we got Last Legend against Amelia McKenzie on the program. And Mark Coffey's on the show today against Saxon Huxley. So, NXT UK has been putting on some barn burners. If you guys haven't checked out Eddie Dennis and Wild Boar, their dog collar match, I thought that was pretty interesting from this past week's edition of NXT UK. And they're picking up some momentum, man. And you're going to see some people from the regular NXT 2.0 roster come in between these different sets of TV tapings. I don't know what the COVID situation is out there in the UK, but hopefully sooner or later these guys and ladies get a chance to put on another NXT UK takeover, because it's been long overdue, and these talents and all around, Andy Shepherd, everybody, the whole crew out there for NXT UK deserves another takeover. It's been long overdue, and I really hope they get an opportunity to do that, because the brand is still awesome. I have a blast covering it every single week, and it's a good watch. So make sure to go check out NXT UK. All right, let's get to the Sasha and Naomi stuff before we get to our next part of the show. All right. So I've had a week to sit back and let this, I wouldn't say fester inside of me, but I've had a week to sit back and try to look at things from different perspectives at both sides of the table about Sasha Banks and Naomi walking out on last week's edition of Monday Night Raw. As you guys know, I was not here last week. Brother Carter and referee Tony shared their thoughts, and from my point of view, I'm in agreement with Brother Carter. For me, it's time to cut bait with Sasha Banks. I stuck to this philosophy ever since we started doing this podcast, and ever since I've done wrestling talk shows since 2013. For any performer that does not want to be there, go. I will not look down on you as a performer or as a person. Again, none of this stuff is personal. But when I see reports about, people talk about their creative and going to the dirt sheets for sympathy, part of me doesn't have sympathy in a lot of ways. And when it comes to this situation with Sasha Banks and Naomi, for this conversation, I'm excluding Naomi from the conversation. Not that she's not important to the situation, but I don't have an issue with Naomi. If there's any woman on the roster that wants to stand up for her own creative or her positioning in the company, she's the one that has the right to do so. So I want to make this perfectly clear. Naomi is excluded from what I'm about to say. Okay? I'm putting her to the side. She's not the issue that I have here. And it's more directed towards Sasha Banks' fan bases than it is Sasha herself, to be honest with you. Because, to be upfront, Sasha Banks' fan base does more damage to her career than what she does herself. This may be the most delusional fan base that I've ever seen in my entire life. You can include the fan bases of Amber Heard, God knows who else out there that we can add to this conversation right now. But when it comes to stan culture, I really don't participate in that stuff because I have a fucking life and I actually like to enjoy my time when I'm not watching wrestling. But there's one thing to be a stan for somebody, and then there's just being an unreasonable, delusional jackass. And that's the crew. They'll come up with every elaborate excuse that's out there to say that Sasha does no wrong. She should be the number one asset in professional wrestling. She's always held down. She's always buried. It's always this. It's always that. When I say I don't have sympathy for Sasha Banks, I'm not talking about her personally. Again, this is not personal. I like, in a lot of ways, Sasha as a person. I watched her 24 special. I like her journey in wrestling. I always appreciated the fact that she's always been a fan and she's passionate about what she does. And I've always acknowledged the stuff that she does in the ring. Now, as somebody who covers the industry, I'm entitled, in my own opinion, to critique the stuff that I see and the stuff that I like and the stuff that I don't. And for me, I try to play fair as I can with everybody. It doesn't matter if it's a WWE show, AEW, New Japan, Impact, whatever. I cover just about every single wrestling promotion. Those who listen to the show know what I'm talking about. At times where I can compare other performers compared to Sasha Banks, I think she, at times, and when we get these reports out, I think at times she acts like her shit don't sink and that she's above the industry. Now, congratulations to her that she did The Mandalorian and that she did this stuff with Kevin Hart and the bath comedy bit that he does. And the Hot One specials. And so nobody's ever going to come here and tell you that Sasha Banks cannot be a mainstream star. That's not my argument here. She can do whatever the hell she wants. She can star in movies. She can star in TV shows. She can do whatever she wants because she's a talented person. She can make her own path. I had somebody last week, a friend of mine, try to imply that I'm telling Sasha Banks and Naomi to shut up and wrestle, a la shut up and dribble, because I'm explaining the realities of what comes with being an independent contractor. Again, I don't have creative sympathy for Sasha Banks because you just main evented WrestleMania last year. You had a long title reign. You're also featured on television a lot and get a lot of TV time. You just won said tag titles about a month ago. If you really wanted to take a stand for women's wrestling, women's tag team wrestling to be specific, why didn't you do this prior to WrestleMania? Don't think there's other motives to when people walk out of companies. Like, we just suddenly figure out that, oh, Sasha Banks' contract is possibly up. Don't be surprised when other decisions are made because there's other things that are attached to it. I'm not surprised by it. I'm not. But again, I don't have sympathy for malcontent who thinks her shit don't stink. And then I've seen these people on Twitter talk about, oh, she's standing up for herself. She knows her worth. Well, guess what, guys? If she knew her worth, she would have quit the WWE in 2019 and actually left. She wouldn't have come back after her little trip in Japan. I believe in the theory of putting your money where your mouth is. Actions speak a lot more than words. You want to be a martyr? You want to make everything about yourself? Do something about it. If you knew your worth, what was stopping you from going to AEW in 2019? Okay? I have people come here and tell me, oh, why are you telling them to shut up to dribble? I don't have an issue with Naomi. I just said it earlier in the show. Oh, if anybody in the women's locker room that ever wants to speak up to management about their creative, it's her. She earned that right. Because she did earn that right. With Sasha Banks, I don't see what's this ethical or, just creative ground where she's standing on where, oh, I don't agree with this. Oh, because I'm going to take the L to Ronda Rousey on a pay-per-view that, oh, I'm going to walk out over that. or the fact that both of you were supposed to be in the women's Money to Bank ladder match, but that's not good enough for you, right? It's not good enough for you to come up to Raw and be like, oh, you're going to be in the main event. It's not good enough for you. Yeah, it's not good enough for you, right? So, again, when I see people go on their soapbox about Sasha Banks and how she's being held back and this and that, I just laugh. Because her actions prove otherwise. If she's so tired of the WWE and her being held back and her being butthurt over the fact that Charlotte and Becky are better performers in the ring and the microphone than her, then why did she leave and actually quit the company? I know that she asked for her release. You don't have to tell me. I saw the story. CM Punk has my respect because he actually did leave and he didn't come back. If you don't want to be somewhere, don't be there. And I'm also not a person that's going to come here and tell you that you can't speak for yourself and you can't stand up for yourself and you have an issue creatively. But when I see people use the dirt sheets to vet their issues instead of handling their own business on their own, I don't have respect for that. Like Mustafa Ali or Ember Moon. She's a great performer. But her fan base and her ego gets her in the way. And that's unfortunate. I like Sasha Banks as a person. I respect everything she's on the ring, and I've always enjoyed her time covering her matches. Just because I'm in the opinion that I think Charlotte and Becky and now Bianca are more well-rounded performers than she is in the wrestling first, does not mean that I don't respect her. And just because because I've seen past decisions makes me skeptical of her really wanting to stand up for tag team wrestling, does not mean I'm telling her to shut up and dribble or shut up and wrestle. Because I would never say something like that. I'm not that kind of person. For anybody to even apply that or even think about that is just absolute bullshit. I would never say something like that. But I could call out a malcontent for being a malcontent. And that's what she is. She's great. She's talented. She's beautiful. She is a star. I will admit, she is a star. I never not admitted that. Doesn't change my opinion that I'm not buying this steal that she's standing up for the morals and ethics of women's tag team wrestling. Because she didn't give a shit then in 2019, and I'm really supposed to believe that she gives a shit now. I'm supposed to believe that she's upset only for tag team wrestling, and she's now holding over the fact that she didn't become the women's champion at WrestleMania this year. That she's butthurt that Ronda Rousey's the champion right now. Like, I'm supposed to sit here and act like that's not the case. There's more than meets the eye. And I know on Twitter, especially on Twitter, a lot of people just go to the juggler and the easy scapegoat and be like, oh, yeah, this is some good on Sasha for standing up towards WWE creative. Don't tell me about her standing up for herself and her knowing her worth. If she knew her worth, she would have fucking quit 3 years ago. You know it, and I know it too. On that note, that is what happened this week in WWE. When I come back, I'm going to give you guys the updated standings for this year's Bastid Super Juniors right here on the Hoots Podcast. Alright guys, one more little break-in segment before we get to our main event segment. But going back really quick to what I was just mentioning. this is the reality of life, and about being an independent contractor, and you could choose to listen to this or not. It's not for everybody. Trust me, as an independent contractor myself, I know what the deal is. It's a cutthroat way of business, and if you're not going to show up for your work and not do what's told of you, you're not going to be compensated for your work. That's all I was saying last week about the realities of being an independent contractor. Because I think a lot of people on wrestling Twitter just get this skewed theory that you can just do whatever you want. And, because CM Punk said, you're an independent contractor, and questioning that, it doesn't change the fact of what the work that you signed up for. Understand what you're signing up for. Yeah, you can ask for more pay. Wrestling's been around on television, for over 50, 60, 70 plus years. There's not a union. Is that Vince McMahon's fault? Or wrestlers not putting their money where their mouth is? This is reality. And a lot of you just choose not to listen to it because you want to play that conspiracy theory card. I was just talking strictly about the realities of being an independent contractor. If you're not going to show up to work and you're going to walk out, you're not going to be compensated. And it was my response to people getting crazy upset. They removed Sasha Banks and Naomi's merchandise off of WWEshop.com. Yeah, no shit. They walked out and they did not do their work, so they're not going to be compensated for that. That's just what it is. That's how that contract with the employer and the contractor is. I don't have to agree. No, but I'm not telling you have to agree with it, but that's what the reality is. That's what's going to happen. So, I don't know. Did WWE need to make statements and have Michael Cole do that little thing about the announcement of saying that they let everybody down? That's not for me to say. If you feel offended by that, that's on you. Everybody else has different opinions. But I just wanted to explain that really quick. Because it's very important. You need to understand what you're signing up for. And again, if you want to talk about putting your money where your mouth is and knowing your worth, and you're upset, you don't want to be in the company anymore, leave. It's not that hard. Leave. If she knew her worth, she would have left. And would have went to AEW, and we would see what her real worth is. But everybody can still get her wish. She can still leave now and go to AEW and see where that goes. We'll see. All right. Really quick, I just want to go over the the standings really quick for the Best of the Super Juniors tournament in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Just some fantastic action that's been going on over the last couple of weeks or so. This is probably one of the quickest tours that I've covered for New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I'm sort of not complaining about it because this bad boy wraps up a week from tomorrow. But over the last 3 days, I've been doing nonstop New Japan coverage from Tuesday to this morning. We've had shows from Cork and Hall. All block matches. Just some top-tier shit. And I think coming up soon on Referee Tony's podcast, the Heat podcast, I think we're going to have a lengthy discussion or something like that about the Best of Super Juniors, so I'm looking forward towards that. And also, when the tournament's over, I'll give you my thoughts on the whole tour and stuff like that, recapping my experience covering it. So don't forget, put in your calendars, June 3rd is the finals of the Best of the Super Juniors 29th tournament. So today, we had a barn burner main event, which was Robbie Eagles against El Phantasmo. Just a fantastic, fantastic match. So here's the standings as it is right now, as I'm talking to you on May 26, 2022. In the A block, in the final place, we have Taguchi at 1-5. Akira and Kanemaru are tied at for 8 and 9 at 2 and 4. Clark Connors has 6 points. Hiromu and Sho all have 6 points. Now, when it comes to this, the mathematics, when it comes to New Japan, their round tournaments, basically, you get 2 points for every victory that you get. So, for example, if you are 4-2, you have 8 points. You lost 2 matches, but you have 8 points because it's 2 times 4 victories, 8 points. Pretty simple deal, right? So, in the top 3 spots right now, we have Alex Zane and Taiji Ishimori tied with 8 points. And then Ace Austin is currently the block leader in the A block with 10. He has a 5-1 record so far in the Best of Super Juniors. He's been fantastic on his tour so far. The B block matches have been a lot of fun too to transcribe as well. I really like the match pairings and stylings in the B block more than I do the A block. But we have a 3-way tie for first right now with El Phantasmo, El Lindemann, and El Desperado. That's not a rib. That's all their names. We have Doki. There's I think a 5-way tie there for second place with Doki, Wheeler Yuta, TJ Perkins, Bushi, and Robbie Eagles, who all has 6 points. Mascherano is at 9 with 4 points. With he has a 2-4 record, so that means he has 4 points. And T-Time rounds it up for the B block with a 1-5 record. So we have 2 shows coming up this weekend. As were the case with these Cork and Hall shows, it's all block matches going forward towards the end of this tournament. I want to give a big shout out to Kevin Kelly and Chris Charleston for doing fantastic commentary as always, and it's been a lot of fun getting to transcribe and cover this Best of the Super Juniors tournament. It's been a fucking blast, so it's been a lot of fun, and I hope you guys have been enjoying my coverage of the Best of the Super Juniors so far. So, on that note, it's time to give the people what they want, what they've been waiting for, what they need. It's another restaurant quality edition of What the Hell is Wrong with AEW. Let's send it off to Disney World via satellite with Brother Carter in a 3, 2, 1.
Beat your meat, 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 beat your meat.
It's time for What the Hell is Wrong with AEW? What the hell is wrong with AEW? Well, since I am on vacation this week, no, I am with you via satellite, and even though I'm via satellite, I could not pass up the opportunity to slam this company and to give my predictions. No, for a pay-per-view that I wouldn't pay 30 cents for, let alone $60, because there's been, as of right now, I'm recording this on a Monday morning. As of now, there are 5 confirmed matches for this. The rest of them we assume are going to happen. So I don't know why I have any inclination or reason to buy this pay-per-view. I mean, I guess you could say 7, because you know there's going to be the Owen Hart men's and women's tournament finals, which will figure out what happened on Dynamite this week. But so, yeah. Again, I'm recording this on a Monday morning, so I'm going to give my predictions. So some of these may not happen. The Owen Hart men's and women's tournament final, because my predictions could be off on this, but so we'll see what's going to happen with this. But I'll just say this: Owen Hart men's tournament final, I'm going to pick Adam Cole to get the win, and for the women's tournament, I'm going to pick Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, to get the win in those. Okay. We know Wardlow versus MJF is going to happen. This is where Wardlow finally breaks off with MJF. This is the only match on the card I actually care about seeing, is Wardlow versus MJF. So I'm going to take Wardlow to get the win there. The Hardy Boys versus the Young Bucks in a quote-unquote dream match that's going to be slow, boring, and a stupid spot fest that the crowd is going to think is a WrestleMania 8-star main event because they're marks for the stupid company that's going to go out of business in 5 years. And this is going to be a terrible match. I'll take the Hardy Boys to get the win, because why not? To get the faces to win, I guess. All right. We got the AEW Tag Team Championship match. Jurassic Express versus Absolute Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs versus Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee. I'm going to take Absolute Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs to get the win here. I think it's time for Jungle Express to go on their merry way. The easy thing to do would be to take Jurassic Express, but I'm going to take that. I'm going to take Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs to win the tag team titles here. All right, mixed tag team match we think may happen. Scorpio Sky and Paige Van Zant versus Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti. I'm going to take Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti here. They've had a heck of a run recently. They're trying to build them up as these obnoxious heels, obnoxious douchebag heels. So I'm going to go with them. And then we're going to probably get some stupid 10-man tag match between the Blackpool Combat Club plus Eddie Kingston, Santana Ortiz versus the Jericho Appreciation Society. I'll take the faces to get the win here. The Blackpool Combat Club. So Danielson, Moxley, Eddie Kingston, Santana Ortiz. They'll probably turn this into a blood and guts match or something like that. But either way, this is going to be lame, and I don't care. All right. The buy-in. Hook, Danhausen and Hook versus Tony Nese and Smart Mark Sterling. Because I don't watch Rampage, I haven't seen one. I've seen, well, I think they had one interaction once on Dynamite at that awful Danhausen debut. But Hook and Danhausen have been featured mostly on Rampage. So I'm going to take Hookhausen to get the win here. I don't know why the crowd thinks this is good. We know Hook has talent. Danhausen is a complete waste of time. And I have no idea why he has this cult following. I just don't get it. But again, I'm going to take Hookhausen to get the win here just because. All right, and now the two women's titles matches. Thunder Rosa versus Serena Deeb for the AEW Women's Championship match. Okay, I lied. There are two matches on the pay-per-view I want to see, and this is the second one. I think this will be good. Thunder Rosa against Serena Deeb. Serena Deeb, one of the best active wrestlers in AEW, and of course we all know what Thunder Rosa can do. I'm going to take Thunder Rosa to get the win here. There's no reason to take the title off of her at this point. She's got a lot of momentum right now. So I'm going to take Thunder Rosa to retain the AEW Women's Championship. And then finally, the match that will probably be the main event, but is probably the most unbuilt-up main event in AEW history. Hangman Adam Page defending the AEW World title against CM Punk. I have never felt... Well, that's not true. Hangman Page is your biggest example of a transitional champion that I have ever seen. He means nothing to the title. He was second on Dynamite 2 weeks ago, the second match on the card, and has felt the world title has never felt less important in any promotion than it has with Hangman Adam Page wearing the belt. A lot of people would say Jinder Mahal as the WWE champion would be in that, but that was in the heyday of one of the heydays of WWE. So I think that Hangman Adam Page has felt more useless of a champion than anyone else. Punk gets the win here. No reason to not put the title on him at this point. It's in Chicago. I'm sorry, it's in Las Vegas. I apologize, but still, the crowd's going to pop hardcore for this. I don't know where I got Chicago from. Chicago is where Forbidden Door is going to happen. And Punk will get the win in front of his home crowd as the AEW World Champion. But CM Punk will be your new AEW champion after Double or Nothing in this match, which will close the show. So those are my predictions for Double or Nothing. Still, I have absolutely no reason to care about this pay-per-view at all, except for MJF, Wardlow, and Serena Deeb and Thunder Rosa. This company has given no reason to build up the storylines, no reason for me to pay $60 to watch this. The only people that will pay $60 to watch this are the anti-WWE fans who think this promotion actually has a hope of maintaining any success after 5 years. This company is going to go in the toilet. The debuts and new faces are going to wear off eventually. And eventually the crowd's going to be like, okay, that's great. We've done it. Now what? Because seriously, what the hell is wrong with AEW? This has been What the Hell is Wrong with AEW.
Thank you very much, Brother Carter. The envy is real. I can just feel that beautiful Central Florida breeze at night just permeating through that clip. Damn it, I wish I was back home in Orlando. Damn it! Alright, time for another restaurant quality edition of What the Hell is Wrong with AEW, aka What is it wrong with AEW? I'd be lying to you guys if I said that I did not miss doing this segment last week. I don't know, there's some comedic eternal weight that gets off my shoulders every time I record this segment. It's I can allow the stress that I deal with throughout the week and just let it all out into this segment for you guys. And I really do appreciate that you guys enjoyed this segment for what it is. So I do want to thank Bookmark for sending that clip this week. Enjoy your vacation, Carter. Looking forward to your return next week. No. All right, let's get into this. Before I make my predictions for the AEW Bill of Goods pay-per-view. So, I'll say that towards the end. It's not Double or Nothing, it's AEW Bill of Goods. So, let's start off with this. We had, last night was to celebrate the 3-year anniversary of AEW's first event in Las Vegas back in 2019. And I'll tell you what, man. This episode of Dynamite really showed you what these last 3 years have been for AEW. And I'm not going to come here and spend the majority of this segment talking about identity and stuff like that. I've repeated that point to death. You guys know where I stand with that. But there's other takeaways that I've had about AEW that I'll address here. And I'll start off with this. So Tony Khan did a local interview here in Chicago. There was a question about possibly doing a show at Wrigley Field. I don't know what else besides the roast about Horizon and probably the USC Pavilion where AEW hasn't done a show here yet. And Soldier Field, of course, can't exclude that, the Jimmy Neutron ship. He gets this question, and I bring this up because with this podcast, I think it's important to call out hypocrisy. Lord knows you can listen to a gazillion wrestling podcasts where they try to come up and call out the hypocrisy when it comes to WWE stuff. It's they call it hypocrisy on WWE's end, but they don't realize that's what they do. That's their identity of the decisions that they make with the TV show. I'm not talking about the stuff behind the scenes. That's a whole other issue for another time. But when it comes to to the TV show, they don't like the philosophy and the way they go about the way they tell their stories and go and stuff like that. It's just a different taste. It's a different thing. That's how they have an identity, and you don't like that. It's not what you would do. Doesn't mean that identity does not work. Let me remind you again, $1 billion record revenue for a quarter this past month. But let's go back to this. So he gets this question about, possibly doing a show at Wrigley Field. And he's like, I wouldn't want to do a weather delay because we saw a pay-per-view, which I was at, by the way, at WrestleMania 37 had a weather delay. And it wasn't ideal. And here's this quote here. Samoa Joe now looks way better as a wrestler than in a poncho. This guy just can't fucking help himself. He's like some scorn off fucking simp. Or this bitter girl. And maybe that's a better example. A scorn off girl that's so fucking bitter and just fixated on talking about something that has nothing to do with him. Yeah, this is the same guy in the beginning stage of the promotion of this fucking company that said, I'm not gonna talk about what's going on with other companies. I'm just gonna just talk about what's important here with AEW and all the great things that we got going on here. And it's like this guy's a walking, talking hypocrite. This dude can't help himself. Every week there's some new thing with Tony Khan mentioning something about the WWE. It doesn't stop. It's comical at this point. I'm not even upset about it. It's so fucking hilarious to me that he feels the need to talk about the weather delay. By the way, that pay-per-view was still awesome. I was there at that pay-per-view, and that weather delay did not ruin my experience at WrestleMania in Tampa Bay last year. Fucking clown. So the show started off last night with Dynamite. We had Wardlow and Shawn Spears. By the way, I guess now you can walk out of the cage and just bring chairs and do whatever you want now without the match ending. I just thought that was kind of weird. Wardlow, of course, obviously was going to win this match. You want the NJF Wardlow match. I'll make my predictions towards that later on. But this is more paint by numbers. You kind of know the drill that was going on here. Spears accidentally hit MJF with the chair. Wardlow did the powerbomb. Symphony. Oh my god. As a musician, I should slap myself for slipping that up. Anyways, Wardlow, he beats Shawn Spears. He will get this match with MJF on Sunday. So that was what it was. It didn't do much for me, to be honest with you. The segment with Hangman Page and CM Punk was pretty interesting from my point of view. I think it's probably one of the few things I liked from Dynamite last night. I gotta say this, and nobody else will say it, so I'll say it here on the Hoots podcast. AEW does a good job of just like cutting out the balls of Hangman Page, or cutting out the legs out of Hangman Page. They do. Like, they made him, like, such a weak dude in the build-up towards him and Kenny Omega. I see so many people like, oh my god, this was such a great storyline and long-term storytelling with him and Kenny Omega. Are you kidding me? They're fucking neutering him the whole build-up towards the fact. And kind of similar to this one. The writing's on the wall. CM Punk's going to become the AEW champion. And, you know, Punk is saying now in the promo, oh, you're going to shake my hand on Sunday. When that happens, you're going to tell me that Hangman Page's legs are not cut from under him? He's not just going to become a regular guy on the roster after this match is over on Sunday? So I liked Hangman's promo that he had some intensity and some gumption added to him. Where he's saying that he's going to defend AEW from CM Punk. Kind of indirectly saying that CM Punk is disingenuous. I liked it. I thought it was a good promo, and I'm a Punk fan. But my issue with this program has nothing to do with Punk and Hangman. But this is also shedding a light on how Hangman has been treated the entire time from a character point of view in their storytelling. It's like, you have him get to the chase, he gets the title, it's a special moment, blah, 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 blah. Everything leading up to it, and then him being the champion, it's like, you're not putting him in to start off the show. He rarely main events the show. When he's on the card, he has to do these stupid hardcore matches where he's bleeding all the time. Because Tony Khan is so fixated with bleeding in TV14 for wrestling. The only way to do a good wrestling TV show is TV14, right? I feel bad for Hangman Page. Yeah, he's probably had the most irrelevant title reign so far in the company's history. But is that his fault? Nobody will call out Tony Khan for that. That's why you're here. That's why you listen to this segment. Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston squashed Private Party. Did not give a shit. Next, FTR against Roppongi Vice. Enjoyed the match. Pretty physical stuff there. I was not expecting the outcome to end the way it did. They had Jeff Cobb and the Great Khan go in the ring and just cause sheer anarchy. The United Empire probably is now going to fight FTR at Forbidden Door. That's your first match on the card there for the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team titles. So, yeah, I enjoyed the match, but the ending was kind of odd there. But I understood why they're doing it. That's going to be your Forbidden Door match to start off there. Another thing that I like for Dynamite, there was a couple things that I liked from this episode. Like I said, it wasn't all too bad, but here's one of the things that I did enjoy for this past week edition of Dynamite. Here's the Hardy Boys.
Young Bucks, our stories begin with a lot of similarities. You see, all four of us, we were raised by wholesome, religious parents. We all had humble beginnings, humble upbringings. We were all good kids. We didn't smoke, we didn't drink, we didn't do drugs. Hell, we didn't even curse. And we all had dreams of making it as superstar professional wrestlers. But Bucks, that's where the similarities end. My brother and I, we broke into the business in the early 90s, and it was a different industry and a majorly different culture. The brutal, tough roads that we had to walk to succeed in this business, you could have never, ever survived. Because you two don't have the fortitude, you don't have the grit, you don't have the resilience that we have. And not only did we survive, we became a revolutionary tag team out of it. You know, sure, you guys are talented, you guys are elite, but let's be honest, let's call this fact out. When we look at you and when wrestling fans look at you, Young Bucks, they see hardy cosplayers. And the reason we are here at AEW is to cement our legacy as the legit goats of tag team wrestling. Yeah, man, that was great. That was good. Yeah, we're not in our prime. We're in our over prime. And it's like overtime. The pressure is on for us to win. AEW is not clean slate, man. It's a new beginning, approaching its end eventually. But as of now, this final run is going to be our best run. So yes, Young Bucks, double or nothing, you're nothing more than two little stepping stones in our way on our journey to becoming the AEW World Tag Team Champions to complete our collection of legendary tag team status. Hell yeah, and Bucks, you say you're in your prime? That you're better than us? You will never be better than us. You have never been better than us. Hell, we've been better than you at every stage. We're better than you as babies, as teenagers, at our peak, in our prime, and we're better than you right here and now as we are middle-aged and extreme. Young Bucks, you may be the elite, but we are the delete. And we will delete you this Sunday at Double or Nothing. And you know, Young Bucks, there's a saying. It says, never meet your heroes. They'll probably disappoint you. But in your case, Young Bucks, you're going to be disappointed because you can never beat your heroes.
Tremendous stuff there. Really enjoyed it. The last thing of the good stuff that I enjoyed from this episode of Dynamite last night was the triple threat match with Jungle Douchebag, Swerve Scott, and Ricky Starks. I thought that was a fantastic match. So I thought that was good. Props to all three guys. Still really don't care about their triple threat tag match at the pay-per-view. That is mid as it gets. But the match is pretty cool. Shane Strickland won the match. Fun stuff there. There was a lot of afterbirth brawls, but hey, it is AEW. Oh man, the Owen Hart Foundation Memorial Cup Tournament. Don't you feel like this is underwhelming of what this should have been? Don't you feel like the consolation prize, instead of getting this modernized Andre the Giant, the Cup trophy, or whatever they're going to do on Sunday? The way the matches have been laid out, the participants, the booking of it, I don't know. On men's and the women's side, it's just been off a little bit, to be honest with you. Britt Baker and Toni Storm. Britt Baker has Jamie Hayter help her win a sloppy way to end the match. By the way, please, for the love of God, Tony Khan, please stop having Britt Baker do forearm exchanges. They're very sloppy and they don't look good on television. So, yeah, that was what it was. The main event was Samoa Joe and Kyle O'Reilly. I enjoyed aspects of it from the physicality point of view, but Here's my thing with Kyle O'Reilly. Like, I appreciate what he does in the ring, and he does come off very comedic at times with his wit backstage. I think he's better with the backstage interview or promo than he is full length. But his wrestling style at times could be a hit and miss when it comes to TV wrestling. I just don't think he's a TV wrestler. And all due respect to him, like, I want to watch a pro wrestling match, and I get it that MMA is this new trend and this new fad thrust throughout the entire industry where everybody's doing Muay Thai knee strikes and hamstring kicks and, you know, doing a zillion fucking things just to do one other thing to attack another body part. But for me, it gets to be a bit much at times, and I can't really digest what he's trying to do. Where 1 minute he's doing an arm bar, the next he's transitioning to a flipping top wrist lock, and then just flipping all over the place. Like, I appreciate Zack Sabre Jr. when he does it because that's his style, and he made it his own, and it works out for his character. But with Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, it's just over the top, and it's too much. It's like, I want to watch a pro wrestling match. I'm not here to watch an MMA sparring session. Again, and this is just me. I'm not the biggest fan of MMA, so of course I would have that opinion. Samoa Joe made Kyle pass out to the Coquina Clutch. Adam Cole will be fighting Samoa Joe at Double or Nothing. So, 3 years of AEW Dynamite buckled down to this pay-per-view coming up on Sunday. AEW Bill of Goods. You want you want 3 words to describe AEW in right now for the past 3 years? Bill of Goods. Write it down. All right, let's get to some of these predictions as we head out for this week's podcast. The buy-in. We got Hook and Dan Clownson against Tony Nese and Mark Sterling. Really don't care about this match, but Hook will win. Jay Cargill will retain over Anna Jay for the TBS title. I have Adam Cole beating Samoa Joe. Unfortunately, Jay Lethal and his cast of misfits will cost Samoa Joe the match, and that'll be unfortunate. I got the Young Bucks beating the Hardy Boys. Be curious to see how that one plays out. I got Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs winning the tag team titles from Jurassic Express. I know a lot of people say it'd be an obvious pick to go with Keith Lee and Swerve, but I think Team Taz actually gets the victory. And the visual of Starks having the FT title and the World Tag Team title would be an interesting look there. And that's how I would do it. MJF and Wardlow. Wardlow will win to get his contract back. If that stipulation was not attached to this program, I would go with MJF 100%. But yeah, Wardlow's going to be MJF, unfortunately. We got Britt Baker taking on the winner of Ruby Soho and Chris Statlander coming up on Friday's Rampage. Man. Are they going to do double heels to win the tournaments? I don't know. I'm going to go with Ruby Soho to win. I think Ruby Soho will win the Women's Own Heart Foundation Memorial Cup Tournament. Then I got Death Triangle defeating the House of Black. I have Thunder Rosa retaining over Serena Deeb. I got the Black Bull Comic Club and LAX beating the Jericho Appreciation Society. And I have CM Punk beating Hangman Page for the AEW World title. So, that's my predictions for AEW Bill of Goods 2022. And that's going to put a ribbon on the bow on this week's edition of the podcast. A lot to talk about. I know I had an extensive monologue this week, but I thought it was very important to speak from my heart for everything that's going on right now. And I'm glad to be back here on the podcast. It was a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode as much as I did. Make sure to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and review and rating. 4 or 5 stars help expand the reach of the show. Show comes to you free of charge every single Thursday, anywhere you get your podcasts from. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just put in the search engine the Hoots Podcast. You'll find it right there. And make sure to bookmark ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com so you see my coverage of the Best of the Super Juniors. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram if you like at Josh Lopez Media. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend. make sure to always remember, be the authentic product that is yourself, and nobody dictates the pace of your life but yourself and the man upstairs. I love you guys. Have a wonderful weekend. Brother Carter, my man, enjoy your waterfall and your time down in Orlando. I'll talk to you next week, brother. And this has been episode 311 of the Hoots Podcast. Enjoy Double or Nothing, and we'll recap it here next week on Hoots Podcast. Yes, sir.